Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1142.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about 6 signs it's time to quit your job. Because as we've been talking about, there is a lot of job changing and job quitting going on right now. And maybe that's something you've been thinking about. So I thought this article was timely for you to just review what's going on with your job, your career. If you're self-employed, some of these things might also apply to you to think about and see if it's time for you to make a life-changing decision. This article was written by Catherine Vassell, and it says, millions of workers have left their jobs in recent months. Some found new roles, while others walked away without having anything lined up. So how do you know if it's time for you to start looking for a new job? Many of us have had bad days, don't like our jobs at times, and have frustrations with our managers and coworkers. But does it mean you should actually quit? That's a different level of a question, said Amy Gallo, workplace expert and contributing editor at Harvard Business Review. Evaluating how long there's been issues with work and identifying what you're dissatisfied with can help determine whether you're stuck in a rut or if it's time to move on. And don't lose sight of the big picture. In the pandemic, things have been very intense. We've all felt a lot of burnout. We've had a lot of stressors in our lives, said Gallo. Is it possible all of that is influencing your perception of your job? Once you have the list, figure out if the problems are fixable and start outlining any potential resolutions to improve your job satisfaction. If that doesn't seem possible, you may want to start looking for another job. Here are some signs that could signal it's time to find a new role. Number 1, you feel like you've plateaued. It's hard to stay motivated and productive at work if you feel there's no room for advancement. Feeling like you've plateaued can look different to each individual. For instance, it could mean a lack of promotions and pay raises, uninteresting assignments, or lack of learning new skills. Long-term, unfilled promises from your boss, like a new position, additional training, or staff, can also be draining. If you don't feel the inroads or the transparency or communication and connection with your boss is there to have a fruitful conversation, that can be a red flag, said Anna Bray, executive and career coach at Jody Michael Associates. Number 2, there are major issues with your boss. There are going to be times when you and your boss don't see eye to eye, but when issues go beyond casual disagreements and there's a lack of trust and support, that can stifle productivity and career progression. When you feel like you have to constantly monitor what you're saying, when you feel like you're constantly being scolded or evaluated, feeling like you are under a microscope constantly, and when you feel like your manager doesn't have your back, there is no trust there. When those 3 things are present, it's not going to work, said Forum Sheath, Chief Coaching Officer and co-founder of coaching company Ama La Vida. Gallo suggested evaluating whether your bad boss is an isolated problem or part of a bigger cultural issue. Any bullying or toxic behaviors, I think those are real signs, said Gallo. Look around the organization and say, are there better bosses here? It could be that your boss is acting in accordance with the organization. Number 3, you perpetually procrastinate. We all put things off occasionally, but if you're constantly waiting until the last minute to complete work tasks when you used to schedule appropriately, that could be a signal it's time to move on. When you procrastinate, you tend to be reactive and wait until the very last minute, and then the quality of work becomes just a checklist to get it done, said Sheath. Compared to, I do this because I have pride in doing this, I care about the results. Now the shift is, I need to do just enough so I don't get into trouble. Number 4, there's a cultural disconnect. Your company's culture plays a role in your engagement, productivity, and happiness, so any disconnect can create problems. For instance, if work-life balance is important to you and there's a constant deluge of emails from your boss at all hours of the day, that can contribute to burnout. She said workers should feel supported and safe at work. How companies responded to the needs of workers during the pandemic has played a role in people deciding to leave their jobs, she added. If your company did not give you that support system, this is why people are leaving. Number 5, you're noticing other potential opportunities. When you feel unsatisfied with your current position, you start to notice other opportunities more frequently. All of a sudden, you start to notice job opportunities pop up on LinkedIn, and you are actually slowing down and looking at them. Your focus has shifted, said Sheath. She suggested asking yourself, if you were unemployed and your current job was offered to you as it is, would you accept it or keep looking? And number 6, your attitude has changed. Take note if there's been an increase in your eye rolls, heavy sighs, and under your breath grumblings at work. If you find yourself over and over for months on end just being dissatisfied with different aspects of your job, being unhappy going to work, sitting down at your computer and thinking, I can't believe I have to do this, that is a sign that you might need to look at what else is out there, said Gallo. While you aren't expected to be happy at work all the time, Sheath said always being defensive and providing snappy transactional type responses that are curt and supply limited information can also be warning signs. Shifts in your attitude and approach to work can be an indicator that it's time to rethink things. You aren't pouring yourself into work the same way. Maybe you're calling in sick and just not showing up to meetings that you used to show up to, Bray said. End of article. Well, there's all kinds of things going on at work right now, and we've talked about work-life balance and how that can seem really out of whack. There's also conflicts about dealing with your health, about how many times a week you come into the office, whether you're working from home, how your productivity is at home. There's all kinds of new things that are popping up that we didn't used to have to deal with in terms of our career and our work habits. So I thought this article might give you some support and help you clarify what you might be feeling, seeing if this is a time you need to make a decision, start looking for something else, or really rethink about what your long-term goals are for your career and see if the path you're on really matches where you want to be long-term. Because we all have only so many years until it's retirement time, and life is too short to be miserable where you're working. So I hope this gives you some clarity and gives you a bit of a game plan for your next step. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as new podcasts are available so you never miss one of them. And my entire wealth mentoring library is available to you free over at lindapjones.com/podcasts. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.